Poland gained a large area of productive farmland from Germany, but gave up some of its eastern territory to the Soviet Union.
A few decades ago, Poland was a grim and dreary place. The shoddy streets brimmed with an air of bleakness as hordes of lifeless communist-era buildings sprawled throughout the cities.
The people who live in these cities are mainly factory workers.
In a remarkable twist of fate, however, Poland has soared past this stereotypical image and might just be paving its way towards the title of Europe's next superpower.
And we have actually been making progress on this count.
But how did we get here? Not only is Poland's economy thriving, it's also shaping up to be a military powerhouse. The question that begs to be asked is, what does Poland's unprecedented rise mean for the rest of Europe? Before we start, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this. A brush with the Polish past. To truly grasp the magnitude of Poland's transformation and what that entails for the European continent, we need to turn back the wheels of time to modern Poland's humble beginnings. The stereotypical image of Poland as being dreary and desolate stems from the 20th century, when this stereotype was unfortunately true. As the first victim of Nazi Germany's invasion, Poland suffered great casualties. Not only did the country lose a staggering 20% of its population in World War II, but it also found itself entangled in the complexities of the Eastern Bloc. Forced to adopt the Soviet system of a centrally planned economy, where the state held sway over almost everything, private businesses in Poland were a rare sight. Essentially relegated to the status of a Soviet colony, Poland's economic fate was dictated by Moscow. Oftentimes, this tyrannical relationship between the two countries forced Poland to engage in financial decisions that defied all economic logic. You can probably imagine the outcome of such a terrorizing economic arrangement. By the 1980s, Poland's centrally planned economy was marred by dysfunction and mismanagement. The country seemed to be perpetually plagued by a shortage of basic resources. Poverty loomed everywhere, and as a result, the quality of life endured a steep decline. Everywhere you looked, all you found were dearth and misery. All of this changed in 1989. 1989 was the year when the parasitic communist regimes in all of Eastern Europe crumbled. Finally, after decades of enduring communist havoc, Poland emerged as a free and independent nation, eager to shed the shackles of the Iron Curtain. Despite its newfound freedom, however, ushering in a new era of prosperity wasn't as simple as you'd think. Although Poland was free of communism, decades under the communist regime had mutilated the country beyond recognition. In the immediate years following 1989, Poland stood as one of the poorest countries in Europe, surrounded by a wild horde of seemingly unsolvable problems. Not only was Poland grappling with a dysfunctional infrastructure, but it also struggled with public services. As far as the economy was concerned, the global economic landscape had changed drastically, and Poland was ill-equipped to maneuver its way around capitalism. The average salary of a Pole languished at a mere tenth of that in Germany, and hyperinflation further added to the nation's woes.
3 times Poland was overrun, and the land divided between the victors. But the Polish people, who deeply loved their country, continued to survive.
Yet, somehow, defying all odds, a mere 3 decades later, Poland successfully established itself as a frontrunner on the global landscape. How did this truly astonishing turnaround happen? Well, the answer to that question brings us neatly around to why Poland might just be Europe's next superpower, and that's because of unprecedented economic growth. The Polish economy miracle. Marking the most sustained economic growth in contemporary European history, Poland now stands as a force to be reckoned with. And if present analyses are to be believed, Poland's economy shows no signs of stopping anytime soon. Considering Poland's communist past, that is no small feat. Oftentimes, a successful economic policy reaps benefits for a few years before collapsing into failure. A particularly relevant example of this might be China's recent economic hurdles, which have caused prominent companies such as Apple and Foxconn to operate elsewhere. In stark contrast to that, companies are flocking to Poland, and there's been growth in future-oriented industries such as battery manufacturing and technology. According to some estimates, by 2030, Poland could be wealthier than Britain. But how did this come about? In the early 1990s, Poland faced a challenge familiar to its post-communist peers: the delicate transition from a centralized, state-owned economy to a capitalist one.
Will the birthplace of world communism itself ultimately be non-communist? And if so, what then?
Here's where Poland diverges from the norm. While many countries grappled with problematic transitional reforms, often marred by delays and corruption, funneling state wealth into the hands of a privileged few, Poland navigated this terrain with finesse. Swiftly embracing capitalism, it cautiously privatized state-owned enterprises, avoiding the economic crashes and oligarch dominance that plagued its counterparts. And that's not all. The early 2000s signaled a realization that Poland needed more than a good start to keep the growth momentum. This is the precise moment when globalization entered the picture. In 2004, Poland joined the European Union, opening its doors to a vast European market with the free movement of goods and services. Western European companies, enticed by a large, cost-effective workforce, shifted their manufacturing to Poland. The result of Poland's entry into the EU was a win-win for both manufacturers and Poland. Companies retained profits, and Poland experienced robust growth. While money played a key part in the whole arrangement, joining the EU wasn't just about economic perks either. It also meant tapping into a fundamental principle of sustained economic growth: wealth redistribution from prosperous to less developed member states. Armed with this financial injection, Poland efficiently built and upgraded infrastructure from roads to universities. Quickly, Poland began to outgrow many of its Eastern European counterparts. Rather than falling into the notorious middle-income trap, Poland's success had only grown. Gone are the days when foreign companies merely sought low-skilled, low-paid workers in Poland. Today, they're flocking to Poland for its extensive pool of engineering talent.
The office is very lively, very colorful. Everybody's very nice. It's almost like a family environment.
Google and other tech giants aren't setting up shop for menial labor. Instead, they're establishing research and development hubs. Despite all this raging success, on paper, Poland might still be relatively economically modest compared to Western Europe. But the growth isn't just a statistic on paper. It's a force that picks up momentum. And nowhere is this momentum more profound than it is with Poland. Steadily, the country has elevated average wages while keeping inequality at bay. So not only has Poland unlocked the secret to sustained economic growth, but it has done so in a way that has benefited the larger population. But that's not all. Polish military mania. You can amass all the wealth that you want in the world, but if you don't have the power to back it up, all that money ends up being futile. In Poland's case, another aspect of growth ties in with the military. With plans to double its army's size to 300,000 soldiers and invest significantly in cutting-edge Western weaponry, Poland is forging a formidable defense force. Poland has also substantially increased its defense spending to 4% of GDP, making it one of NATO's most well-funded members. This military build-up serves a dual purpose: deterring Russia, especially given the shared border with the Kaliningrad exclave, and compelling Germany to fulfill its NATO obligations. Poland's apprehension about Germany's perceived military weakness and its approach to the Ukraine conflict is rooted in historical concerns, fueled by close Russo-German ties. As Poland steps up to fill the leadership vacuum left by Germany, not only Warsaw, but also other European countries are expressing concerns about the changing geopolitical landscape. Warsaw's diplomatic initiatives, spearheaded by President Duda in May of 2023, aim to raise awareness globally about the challenges faced by the region, especially in the light of the escalating Russian aggression. But will Poland be successful? If Poland continues to avoid falling into the middle-income trap, its military exertion will go on undeterred. But as always, there are certain risks involved. There lies a deep-seated division within Poland, namely the schism between a liberal, progressive faction and a deeply conservative religious one, reminiscent of the divide in the United States. For Poland to retain its hold on Europe as a superpower in the making, it's imperative for both sides of the political spectrum to coexist harmoniously and collaborate effectively. Enjoyed this video? Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. See you next time.